Okay. Mayor Gray and the city was committed, along with America Speaks, to get as diverse and representative group of residents together this morning for the day to have this conversation. So now we get to see how close did we come to achieving that goal. We're not going to use the keypad, so please pick your keypad up. And please be sure you use the same one all day long. There are a few things to tell you about how they operate. They're really very easy. When we ask a question, there'll be a number for each answer. If you want to press number 4, that answer, then you just press 4. Many of us might by accident press 5 just because our thumb's bigger than the numbers or whatever. Don't worry about it at all. The keypad will only register the last time you punch it. So if you make a mistake and hit the wrong number, or frankly, if you change your mind, just hit the one you want. Okay. Sometimes later today, not in this demographics, but later today, we may give you a multiple choice option where you'll have the opportunity to vote for more than one. In that case, all you do is you push all the numbers that you want to vote for. All right, our first polling question. Now, frankly, given what the weather people said earlier in this week, we thought this question might be a little more relevant, but let's do it anyway. We're just past the midpoint of winter. How many more inches of snow will we get before winter is over? For 1, too little to measure. 2, several more dustings, but nothing to worry about. 3, only one decent-sized storm, 6 to 12 inches. 4, a bunch of storms that will throw the local TV weather people into a tizzy. 5, the largest snowfall on record. All right, have fun. Just pick whichever one you want.
See what's become of me.
Okay. 40% of us, several more dustings, but nothing to worry about. And some of us think, as often happens, is that we're going to get one more big storm. Okay. Now we're going to go to the real reason we're asking you to do keypads, now that you've got the hang of it. I want to make one important note. We're going to compare who's in the room to the 2010 census. And some of you probably have seen as each year goes by, some data is updated. But the only consistent number we have is the 2010 census. So that's what we'll be using for comparison. Let's start. Who are we? Press 1 for female, press 2 for male. What is your gender? Whoa, 61% female, 39% male. All right. Where's the comparison? All right. So, 3 cheers for the women in the room. We've already done that. But I guess I'd have to also acknowledge that we're going to have to make sure that the men's voices get heard, right? Right? Okay. All right, next. Now, we know in our culture we have a lot of things about how old we are, particularly the 61% of us that are women. But nobody knows what number you push, so you got to tell the truth here. Press 1 for 15 to 19, 2 for 20 to 24, 3 for 25 to 34, 4, you've got the idea, and for 7, it's 65 or better. Whoa. All right, let's start at the top. 15 to 19-year-olds, 8% of us are that young, better than the census. How about a round for our young people? Woo! All right, the next category, 20 to 24, which is that tough age of a transition from home to the real world. We got 6% in the room, and the census is 10.7. So make sure that transition age really gets heard at your tables. All right, 25 to 34, we have 15%. Census is 20.7. Again, a tough age group there. Whoa, we lost the screen. Could we please have the right screen back? All right, thank you. 45 to 54, 19% of us in the room, 12.5 in the census, so we're a little higher. 55 to 64, 22 to 10.6, we're higher. So 65 and better, 20% of us, 19% of us are 65 and better. Let's give a round of applause for folks who are out here. All right. We are very good on age, but let me remind you, in that grouping from 20 to 30, really from 20 to 44, we're a little lower than we would be optimal, so make sure those voices really get heard. All right, that next slide that we just saw. Of course, it really matters that we have all voices from race and ethnicity, so number 1 for Asian American, 2 for Black or African American, 3 for Latino, 4 for Native American or Indian, 5 for white or Caucasian, 6 for more than one race, or 7 for other.
And a miracle is happening tonight. If you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white.
Okay. The stats here in the room, and let's have the comparison right away. Asian Americans, 8%. 3.5 is the census. African Americans, 44% of us in the room, 52% in the city. All right. Latinos, 19% in the room, 9% in the city. Wow. Whoa. Native American, 1% of us in the room represent Native American or Indian cultures. Fantastic. White or Caucasian, 22% in the room, 35% in the city. A little bit low. More than one race, we chose 5%. Census shows 3.2. So again, we are in very good shape here. I would just say, if you're from an underrepresented group in any way, just make sure your voice gets heard. Thank you. Don.
Okay, now we want to find out where you live, and this begins to find out who came the longest distance to make sure we came to the city center today. So let's get that slide up. All right, push 1 for Ward 1, 2 for Ward 2, 3 for Ward 3, etc. 9 if you work in the city but don't live in the district. 10, none of the above. All right, let's see. Okay. This is the data based on, all right, now, based on the census data, Ward 1 is 18%. Wow, let's hear a hand for Ward 1, 12%, 12.7% according to the census. Please note that the census data is not going to reflect the redistricting that's just going to happen. So these numbers reflect the 2010 census. Ward 2, 9%, 13%. We're a little underrepresented in Ward 2. Ward 3, 8% to 12.8%. Ward 4, 13% to 12.6%. That's about on the mark. Ward 5, 13%. Okay, Ward 5. Ward 6, 13%, 12.7%, that's on mark. Ward 7, 9% to 11.8%, a little low yet. People are still coming in. Ward 8, 10% to 11.8%. 7% work in the city but don't live in the district, and 1% are none of the above. And we're glad you're here anyway. All right, good job. Let's go to the next one. All right, so it's important for us to have a sense of annual household income Again, this is not being tracked. We just want to get a sense of what the diversity is in the room. And you all know that this is one of the issues that's going to make a big difference in how inclusive our city is. So push 1 if your household income is under $25,000, 2 if it's from $25,000 to $50,000, 3 $50,000 to $75,000, 4 over $75,000, 5 not sure. I don't think we're in trouble with the Wi-Fi. Okay, let's see. All right, 24% according to the census data. We have 27% under 25,000. For 25,000 to 50, we have 18% in the census, 20% are in the room. For 50,000 to 75, we have 16% in the census, 15% in the room. Over 75,000, 30% are in the room compared to 42 in the district. 8% are not sure. So we've got some pretty good diversity here in the room. So that's good news for us. Thank you so much. Give yourselves a hand.
One more.
All right, now, I have lived in the district because we know that there have been some tensions between folks who've lived here and folks who are more new arrivals. So for number 1, if you've lived here less than 5 years, push 2 if you've been here between 5 and 10 years, 3 between 10 and 20 years, 4 between 20 and 30 years, 5 more than 30 years, 6 none of the above.
Has this been going on? Well, you're friends with the fancy persuasion.
Okay, let's see what we've got.
No comparison on this one, so go.
Okay, so we have a very interesting distribution. We've got 17% here less than 5 years, 11% between 5 and 10 years. So if you take both of those and add them up, people who've been here between 0 and 10 years, 28%. Between 10 and 20 years, 20%. Between 20 and 30, folks who have really been deeply invested over time in the district, 13%. But more than 30 years, 34%. That's really excellent.
Bravo!
Thank you all for coming out today. Okay, now we want to go and report back to you some of what we learned when we did the question around why are you here?
You know what? Before we do that,
Yes.
I don't know about you guys, but what we just looked at, I think if a statistician were here, they'd say basically, we made it.
The
That
city
it's
is
all
here.
within range. How about giving
Give
yourselves
yourselves
a
a hand.
hand for being here? Sorry, but I thought.
So, our theme team has been very busy. They've taken the data that you've so conscientiously sent to them. Let's find out what the themes are that they want to report. 1, make my voice and our collective voices heard. 2, speak for others who are not always heard, like youth, seniors, the homeless, immigrants, people with disabilities. Speak up for education and affordable housing. Learn more about what is happening across the district and where we are going. Some people came to learn about the mayor's vision, learn more about what's happening in different wards and neighborhoods than the ones they probably live in or work in, learn more about available opportunities, and that's very practical, jobs, education, and housing. So now that we have these themes, and I hope that you will see a theme or two that was sent forward from your table, we're going to do a quick polling.
No, we're not polling on these.
We're not polling now?
No.
Okay. All right, so thank you for those themes, and now we're going to move to Carolyn.
So, we want to bring Mayor Gray back to the stage. As he told you in his welcoming remarks, he really wants to share with you his ideas and his aspirations for how we can become one city. He'll start by sharing some important ways in which our city has actually changed in the last 10 years. He'll share with you some of the key assets that our city has, and he will be very, very candid about some of the toughest challenges that are facing our city. So please join me in welcoming Mayor Gray back to the stage.
First of all, let me thank Carolyn and Don for getting us off to a great start. Can we have a big hand for them? They're going to help lead us all day. Again, they do a great job, and I want to thank them for the amazing work that they've done already here and will do throughout the rest of the day. I'd also like to thank Steve Brigham, who is somebody we've worked with for some time and is doing a yo person's job here today. Steve, thank you very much for what you're doing. I also want to take the opportunity to thank our sponsors who are helping to support this today. Blue Cross, Care First, Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Hotel Association of Washington, D.C., FedEx, Verizon, Comcast, Washington Gas, E-Construction Group, Unite Here, Local 25, MedStar, and Mrs. Clifton W. Jones. How about a big hand? They have really helped us be able to put this on today and to especially support our lunches. As I mentioned in my introductory remarks at the beginning of our program, I want to share with you some more details about why this is such a critical moment in the district's history. We are at a crossroads, ladies and gentlemen, and we must take the opportunity to seize our future and harness all of the dramatic changes that we're experiencing for the maximum benefit of our entire city. Today, D.C. is both a magnet and a changing city. It is the proud capital of the world's most democratic nation. It is also a place where the dream of living in a progressive, prosperous, inclusive, vibrant city indeed is achievable. How do I know this? I know it because we have become one of the top retail markets in the United States and the top relocation choice for young professionals. D.C. has the largest number of fast-growing private companies in the region, and we're among the top cities in the world for foreign real estate investment. We're also, believe it or not, the most literate city in the United States. And as recent surveys have shown, we are also one of the greenest, most livable, and most sustainable in the U.S. as well. Yet, with all of the neighborhoods and people represented here today, as well as viewing on TV and on the web, we need to speak truth to each other about the critical challenges that persist and divide us in this city. Our city is in the midst of a sea change. Our population, our economy, our jobs, our schools, and our neighborhoods all are changing. The historic demographics of our city have changed. The people the district attracts are younger, more diverse than they have been in the last several decades. In the decade between 2000 and 2010, we added about 30,000 residents. That growth has now accelerated. And in the last 16 months alone, we've added approximately 17,000 residents to our population in the city. And it appears now, ladies and gentlemen, that no single racial group is the majority in our city any longer. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Increasingly, we are a more cosmopolitan and diverse city with people of every hue, ethnicity, culture, and religion. And we're also increasingly more affluent. But the fact is that while 6 of our wards have seen increases in family income, 2 of our wards have not. The economy is expected to grow significantly over the next decade or more. By 2015, we are expected to add an additional 45,000 jobs in our city. So despite our tough economy, the jobs are coming. We have a universal pre-kindergarten program. Our public schools are improving, and a high percentage of residents have college degrees. Yet, in some parts of our city, more than half the residents do not even graduate from high school. The result is that despite all the increasing prosperity in the city, a large segment of the district's population still finds it very difficult to get and hold a job. Indeed, in some neighborhoods, a quarter or more of the adults are unemployed. Overall, 20% of district residents live below the poverty line, and even more tragically and even more shocking, in some wards, 30% of our children live below the poverty line. Now, while some residents bear a disproportionate burden of these negative indicators, other residents of our city bear a disproportionate share of the cost of funding our city's social safety net. Yet, despite the best of intentions, some of these services actually trap people in a state of dependency and denies them the dignity of work. These factors actually create a cycle of regression: social and health problems, lack of advancement, and joblessness, to say nothing about the awful waste of human talent. And make no mistake about it, the entire city ultimately suffers as a result of these kinds of challenges. This is why we are all bound together in a single destiny as a city, and why what happens in Barry Farm and Deanwood affects what happens in Georgetown and Cleveland Park, and vice versa. For me, then, one city is about a place where no one group is favored over another, where everyone has a fair chance to succeed, where everybody pays their fair share, where we move forward together, and where everyone is better off as a result. So today, I'm asking you to commit with me to help us build this one city of our dreams. Help me find a way to create a city where every resident participates in a diverse, thriving economy. Every resident lives in a neighborhood where they feel safe and they are safe, where every resident is able to send his or her children to a quality traditional public school or a public charter school, where every resident has a good quality of life that includes access to quality health care, recreational opportunities, affordable transportation, affordable housing, and an array of retail choices, where every resident gets a solid return on their tax investment and high-quality customer service from their government. Where every resident lives in the most environmentally sound, sustainable city in the world, and where every resident has a voting voice in the Congress of the United States. The beauty of this One City Summit is that we are here. Hundreds, thousands of us from every ward, every corner of our city, gathered under one roof with one purpose, and that's a fine way to start building one city. I I am a true believer that listening to one another and finding ways to achieve common ground is at the very heart of our democratic system. Today, we will place before you facts and promising ideas. We will identify barriers and breakthroughs. And the beauty of this summit is that each of you will vote and see immediately, as you already have, what you prefer and what you want to recommend. This is real-time, grassroots democracy, DC style. My fellow residents, I invite you to join me in the belief that our city can go places and reach heights that it's never been before and never achieved before. And I urge us once again to be able to do that together. I want to thank you for helping us to build one city. I ask you to roll up your sleeves today, to work hard. You will see the results of your effort as we go forward in the District of Columbia, and let's build the kind of city that 618,000 people can feel proud of and can recognize themselves in as we go forward. Let's get the work done, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Throughout the day, there'll be some pretty special people who are also listening, and I want to take a minute just to acknowledge that President Jack DeGioia of the University of District of Columbia is with us today and should be acknowledged. Oh my God. Well, I've just committed a political gaffe. I've got the district on the mind, President. I think probably most of you already knew he's the president of Georgetown University. My apologies. You know, one of the wonderful things about American democracy is it's okay if you make a mistake, you just have to own up to it really quickly. Okay, so, you know, while we were talking before, some of the people on the table facilitators mentioned to us that our pace was a little too fast for another very important group of people that are with us today. They were counted in the demographics, but we didn't acknowledge that we have a lot of people here who are here with multi-translation. So I want to take a minute to acknowledge we've got tables of Korean people for which this is being translated, Vietnamese, Cantonese, you got to keep it up here, Cantonese, Mandarin, Amharic, Spanish, and sign language. All right, we're starting the meat of the day. We haven't mentioned yet the folder that has the background information in it. For this table work, you may want to take out the red section, which is the Why One City section. You're going to have about 30 minutes for this discussion, and it's built around two key questions for you to take what the mayor told you, and many of his most important points are printed in that red section in case you need to refer to it. But there are two things we want you to talk about at the table. Your facilitators will help and get it into the laptop recorders. First, what do you see most exciting about the opportunities and breakthroughs for becoming one city? So what are our assets? What are the things that are going to help us do that? The second critical question is, what do you see as the biggest challenges or barriers to really becoming the one city vision that we're committed to? So we also want to ask you to pull out the yellow set of worksheets, or I think they're at your tables already. Take a minute, and each of you, with your pen or pencil, answer those two questions on worksheet number 1. You'll then quickly go around the table, share your top idea. The laptop recorders, please submit the ideas after there's broad agreement at the tables. You'll have 30 minutes for the discussion, The table facilitators will help, and we'll post the time up on the big screens beginning at 15 minutes. Enjoy.